guys. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Time to get to work. I unboxed this stuff without y'all, so, but I'll show you what we got. Iron Rock Off-Road sea gussets. Tube sleeves. I like these tube sleeves better because they do weld in. I know a lot of them advertise that there's no welding required, but if there's no welding required, that means it's a tighter fit, like a press fit. And what I've always worried about doing these was driving that sucker in there and getting it stuck halfway or something like that. Well, these, we'll measure them when we get to that point. We gotta tear the whole front end down, but I'm thinking that these are same size or very little press fit, probably none at all, which would make it easier to put in there, because it would be a mess if you drove one of them in there and you got it stuck. So that's all they are. 2-inch DOM. But it'll make it a 1/2 inch thick housing. That's all it is. It's going to take some work to put them in there. So I'm going to cut y'all off. These are the sea gussets. Don't really, I don't know about these. Seem like to me it would need to be something stiffer than this. I don't like bends in metal to support something this way. Yeah, it's going to be welded, but when you already start a bend in something, you really already weakened it. So I don't know what we're going to do with these yet, but like everything else, we'll figure it out. I got some 5/8 bar stock. We may, I don't know, we'll figure it out. We'll look at that later, but we got a lot of work to do to put these tubes in there. So I'm gonna cut y'all off and drink a little bit more of my coffee. Take the heater out there because it's cold here in Florida today. Take my heater out there and put it on that front end and warm some stuff up where we ain't working on cold bolts. I don't know how you guys do it up north. I would quit in the wintertime. Moved a giant box out of the damn way that my company's never come and got. Anyway, guys, I'll film a video taking that hubs apart and show y'all how that works. Let's get after it. Ain't nothing, no time like the present. Alright guys, I'm woke up now. I'll get the tires off of it and I'll turn y'all back on and we'll pull one of the hubs apart, show you how that works, show you the axles, and then I'll get on the rest of it and get tore down. There's your lock nuts. You got a little tiny horseshoe deal. Holds that axle flush. Get the right tool. It's gonna be a booger. There it goes. That's what retains the axle from moving this way, that way. This is splined. Anyway, that ring has got little teeth on it. Got to locate it. Okay, we got that. Now, there's a socket that works for this, but you can use a brass rod or something of the sort. It won't mess it up. My neighbors heard me over here taking the tires off. I heard him crank up. He's coming over here to check us out, see what we're up to. That's the preload on your wheel bearings. Black looking in there. I thought I had them tight. I had a guy comment the other night and said, "Man, you really need to wear gloves when you're messing with that grease." I sweat grease. Them gloves, they do nothing but get in my way. I use them sometimes, but not often. Let's see, once you lock this one down to get your preload, you line up the little holes, and it's got a tit there, and then this locks it all together, and this slides over the axle, and this keeps it all in there. It just keeps that in line where it don't walk back and forth. We're going to take all that in there and clean it up. We'll probably repack these wheel bearings too. But now the hub should slide right off. Like so. Pretty good. Need to be repacked, but pretty good to be in what we do with it. Now inside that spindle, inside the spindle right here, can you see my hand? Yeah. Inside the spindle right there, there's a roller bearing that the axle rides on. So it's captured in there. It's pretty strong right here, which makes the way this thing's set up, it makes the axle so much longer and beefs it up. Everything looks good. Yeah. Damn mud. Alright, let me get this. Let me get the bearing. It bolts through the back side, kind of like the wheel bearings do. I'm gonna take them off. I'm gonna pull that off there and look at it. Alright, the spindle bolts through just like the wheel bearing, like I said. These things are expensive. They're like $1,500, I think I paid for them. But I put about 4 sets of wheel bearings on this thing before I bought these. Figure that up. It gets pricey. Yeah, see that right there. Got some mud in there, water, but it's still greasy. Did you hear it suction cup off there though? It was sealed pretty damn good. That's a seal there that goes on the axle. But see how big See how big that shaft is? The weak link's gonna be them locking hubs with this stuff. Oh, that don't look good. See, that's what I was worried about too. Here, let's get it. Oil's clean as a pin. Should have drained it before I did that, but I didn't. Got a little bit of rust on it right there, but down here it's all sealed up. See where that's where that seal rides on the outside. These are 4340 axles. They're Yukon lifetime axles. So compared to a stock one, see how small that is on the end down there? You can't really tell up there, but it's neck down. Where the seal rides on these, it necks down smaller to the splines in this area. This is all the same size all the way through. Let's clean the splines up and see if we got to put any pressure on them. Anywho, you guys, we put them in there 11 months ago. Y'all know why that's like that? Why it's getting moisture in there and not getting rid of it? Because of the locking hubs. The front diff don't ever get hot. It ain't pitted or anything, it's just surface rust. We'll clean all that up. I've inspected the splines on this side. It all looks good, everything looks good. Alright, we'll get off the axle and carry on. That's a pretty beefy axle, man. It's all the same size all the way down. It's not neck down like that factory one is. It does go. This is what we're going to have to figure out. It does go into the tube. I was thinking maybe it went into the knuckle itself, but see how it's full of grease in there? I don't know if you can see it. That's what them things do. It almost just fills the whole tube up with grease. So let me do some thinking here. See how we're going to get the tube seal to work with them sleeves, because the sleeve that we're putting in there is literally the same size as that. We could shorten it. We could shorten the tube that length. We could do it that way. And that would make this where we can still use it. That might be what we're going to do. Let me get on this, get it cleaned up, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, I got all the parts cleaned up and inspected. I know our weak link is going to be those hubs. I was wrong about them before, but it just don't. That's the gears out of the hub. You'll see the stub shaft. But it's like the rest of the Jeep, the input shaft out of the transmission that drives everything. It's probably that big around. So it's all how the load's applied to them. If this keeps, I'll go through a couple of these before I give up on it, but these are lifetime warranty. All I gotta do is send them back to Yukon. But if it did get to that point, I do still have these 4340 stub shafts. So but everything looks good. I don't see anything, any kind of damage to anything happening. And they've been in there for, we put them in there 11 months ago. I had to look back on the video. So all the trail ride videos past 11 months was with these in there. Everything we did, raising hell in that, all those trails. So everything looks good with the locking hub down in here. There's no grooves or anything, because this goes down in there and locks. There's no grooves cut, nothing like that. I can't see anything but, you know, shininess. That's about it. It's gonna be slow rolling today, boys, because when we take it apart, I'm gonna inspect everything and clean it up. That way when we go putting it back together, we can get after it. We don't have to clean and put something together, and I'll cover all this up with a towel or a sheet. But your spindle, y'all seen how that comes off. The hub itself presses onto the rotor like so with the wheel studs, and that's what holds it on. But all our bearing surfaces, there wasn't no water got in there. The only place I found any moisture intrusion was where that center of that axle had a little bit of surface rust on it, but we're going to fix that. When we put it back together, we'll pump that tube full of grease through this until it's slammed full of grease. Now we got to take and see how we're going to get these to work. I was going to machine the tube to fit these, but I'm pretty sure, we'll go over there and look, I'm pretty sure that's the same size as that tube. Now let's just walk over there now. It's right here. I don't think it's going to give us anything. I don't know how we're going to do it other than, yep, exact. I don't know if y'all can see it or not. Yeah, it's exactly that size. I guess we could shorten the tube and recess it in there like such. It'll be no big deal. We can cut it off on the lathe and chamfer the end again. Or we could turn this down a little bit, but see, I don't really want to do that because we got to drive this in, so we want this to be thick here. So we'll probably shorten it up. We're going to have a truss on it too. I'm going to go see how far it will be inside the knuckle. Now if it's not in the knuckle at all, then I don't know. We'll have to cross that bridge when we get there, but I'm going to go do some measuring and see what we got here and how this is going to work. But it's the same size as this, so there's no way to turn this to fit. We could turn this down to fit, you know, like half of that aluminum, half of that steel, but that axle flexes. The axle shaft itself flexes when you get it in a bind, and it wants to push up and down on this just a bit, and I'm scared to break it off and just spin it because it probably needs to be that thick. So the real way to do it would be make this out of steel and attach it to that axle, weld it to it, and then drive the whole thing in there. But we don't have time to do all of that right now. I don't have any material either that size. So let me do some investigating and figure out what we're going to do. I'll let you know in just about 2 seconds for y'all, or 1 second. Alright, here's what we're going to do. And that goes just about to the weld on this knuckle. Right there is where it stops at. So what we're going to do is just cut that tube to be able to still press that in there, because I don't want to mess with this, because if this breaks on us and starts spinning in there or something, then we're going to have more problems than the tube bending. So we want to keep that works. We know it works. So what we'll do is we'll cut that tube a little bit shorter where we can still run this, and we'll run a gusset up under here, there to there, and up to here, from the perch over to there. That's what we'll do. Out of that 5/8 stock I got, we'll just fab up a little wedge to go in here under the spring, and one to go right here, and that'll be good. So now how to get my button gear and get the diff cover off. I'm gonna rip that side off over there, get the carrier out of it, start cleaning these tubes out. Then we got to drill holes through it here and here and somewhere over here. Probably 1, 2, 3 1/2 inch or 5/8 where we can plug weld it to it. Which I like the idea of that plug welding it to it, because it's going to stiffen the whole thing up when you do that even more. But anyway, enough of talking about it. I'm going to get the diff cover off, get the carrier out of it, get all that side tore down, cleaned up, everything inspected, and then when I come back I'll have the tubes cleaned out and maybe the holes drilled. We'll see how far we get with it and go from there. That's what I'm going to do. Just cut that tube off, make it just a little bit shorter, maybe by a couple inches, whatever that is. I think it'll be fine. The tube will still come to the weld right there, so that's good. That'll work. Alright guys, I'm gonna get after it. And that's why I want to use them. We're gonna make them work. Y'all seen all that deep ass water we've been in. And there ain't nothing in there. Let me set y'all down and get that off there, and we'll look at it real quick, and then I'll get to work. Damn sure need to run it in full low a little bit more often. Look at the coast side, it's got kind of cut pattern's good though. It's set at 5 thousandths, you barely can move it. This is the difference between a 30 and a 44. See the thickness of that gear? The Dana 44 gear is about that thick. But we don't got that kind, we got this kind. And this is what we're going to use. But yeah, there is gotten some moisture in there though. I see some things that need to be cleaned up a little bit. Strange. It's almost like it's trapped it behind them seals back here from the outside in and just trapped it there. But it gets like this because it's not turning all the time. So from now on, when we go out in the woods, I'll just lock the hubs in and leave them locked in the whole time we're out there on the highway and everything, to keep it, you know, heated up a little bit more than it's been doing. But it looks good. Alright, now I'm going to get to work. Always do that. Mark your caps and put it up high so you'll know that's where it went, right beside each other. That way you can take them off and you ain't gotta worry about getting them mixed up. You see people weld these to the housing. I wonder if they ever know there's red silicone between the housing and the tube to seal it. So if we do anything, we'll plug weld it right here and right there. Just put basically a stud in there out of weld, and not really weld it to it, but put a stud there where it can't twist. Alright, I'm gonna get the caps off, get the seals out of there, get all the gook out of both tubes, and then we'll clean them out and we'll start fabbing up the tubes to go in there. The wind's blowing, so if it's making noise, it's the wind. Look at that schmoo coming out of there. Y'all see that? Look at that nasty crap. Just folding up paper towels and pushing them through there. It don't look too bad. Push one more through there and we'll get that crap out of there. Put two of them in there and tighten it up. Shit, them might be alright. Let me save those just in case. I got some, but you never know. Ugh. Guys. Yeah, them tube seals make a mess, but they do their job. Alright, I'm gonna take some. There y'all, look at what I'm messing with. I got my camera covered in grease. Need to get that slick in there, both sides. I'm gonna work on it and I'll turn y'all back on when I get it done. Alright guys, these Iron Rock Off-Road, where I got those, that's the ones you want to get. Yeah, you have to drill holes in the tube and weld it, but you don't have to worry about getting it stuck in there. This is how clean we got it. It's not even perfect. Alright. About 4 thousandths smaller. That's what I'm talking about. Sweet. Alright. Now, you would say, well, the ones that drive in would probably be a tighter fit, but when you weld that thing to the other tube, it ain't going nowhere. And plus, it would be like my way of thinking anyway. That's a shitty one, but if you weld it 1, 2, 3 spots, it's going to tie that sucker together like bars in there when you weld it, 1/4 inch long. So it'll be inside there and welded to it. Still be double walled. I like it. I was dreading that part of it because I could see it happening to somebody. You drive that damn thing in there with a hammer and the next thing you know it gets stuck, and then what do? So I've seen a lot of them on YouTube get driven in there, watching them, and it just looks a little scary to me. So I like the fit of that. It's a good tight fit, but you can slip it in there. Let's get my snap gauges and my outside mics, and we'll see just how much bigger it is. I think it's about 3 or 4 thousandths bigger. I mean, smaller than the axle tube. Let me get my stuff. We'll measure it and see. This ain't the perfect way to do this, but for what we're doing, it'll work. $1987. Let's go with 1971.
You recording, Bucket?
Yeah. 14 thousandths smaller, so it's 7 thousandths per side. That's why it slides in so easy. All right, good deal. Damn wind's kicking today. Alright, we're going to go straight through both sides. Start with a small bit and work our way up. Y'all scared yet? I am. Damn, wind is kicking today. Let's get it right here. Alright, I'm gonna get the drilling. I'll turn y'all back on. Nobody likes watching drilling. Shit, we might as well see what it's gonna take, huh? Drill bit there might be 2 bar. Just trying to bigger one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Alright, I'm gonna get on it. Boy, I hate drilling holes. Badass shit right there. Let me get it where you get some pressure on it. I'm gonna wish I took this and put it on the drill press. Alright, boys. Let me get them drilled out. Fun times. Well, I drilled 5/8 holes with a pistol drill without knocking my teeth out or breaking my arm. So that is a strong little sucker. That's that new brushless. Damn, that thing's strong. You put it in low gear. Alright. The 10-12 thousandths we've seen difference. It's amazing, you know, these guys that did this stuff so long, this is why. Some of y'all probably figured it out. Can you see? Let me see if I can get you where you can see it. See the burr on the back side of the drill hole? That's why. That right there would be like your knurl on the pipe. I'm gonna put another one in it right here. I'm gonna put another hole in it under here. So 5/8 holes, it looks like Swiss cheese. Kind of scary doing it like that, but I bet you one thing, you put a 5/8 plug weld on both sides of that pipe all the way down and one on the end, it ain't never moving. It ought to be strong as hell. To me, that's a stronger way to do it than pressing it in. It's my opinion. But that one holds a little lower than the others, but it's all good. So I'm gonna put one here. And we're going to go on the other side and put one on the lip of it there. And knock the tubes in there. But it's a good thing that it is bigger, because you'd have them edges, those rolled over edges on the inside. You'd have to figure out a way to deburr that, which you could deburr it, but that's why it's so much larger, the tube. You figure each one of them little things sticking out on the inside is going to make it tight when we drive it in there, so that's a good deal. That's one reason I didn't just make mine. You know, I want to see how they did it. People that's been doing it forever, you know, not me just trying to figure it out for the first time. But now I know about what size to make it. I tell y'all how much I hate drilling holes. I can show you one thing though. These little bits from Harbor Freight are pretty damn good. I've had them for a while. These here are high dollar bits. Yeah, they're old and they need to be sharpened, but I pulled a 5/8 right out of the pack and drilled all them holes out with it, no problem. They bite a little too hard, but they damn sure cut good. The big holes were easier to do other than at grabbing than the tinier holes before. You just want to step it up, start at 5/16, 3/8, ½ inch, then go to 5/8. But we turned her into Swiss cheese. Alright boys, I'm going to get on it some more, see what we come up with. There. We turned it into Swiss cheese. Got one on the back side of that hole. Now, it is a bitch drilling them holes through there, but I did learn some tricks I can tell y'all. I was going from this size bit up to a 3/8, up to a ½ inch, up to a 5/8 bit. But what worked out better was this size straight to 5/8. It didn't want to grab as bad. And then when you get almost through to where it's fixing to grab and about break your arm, if you got a rechargeable, go from low speed to high speed on that last little bit. That way it will stall the drill and not wrap you up under there. But I drilled them all with that Harbor Freight deal. High speed, it worked better than the bits I have. It's pretty good. I don't know what I paid for these. They couldn't have been that much at Harbor Freight. But they work good. They seem to be high speed steel like they say, because I drilled all them holes with it. It didn't ever get dull or anything. It kept cutting. So now, let's take the air and blow out all that mess from the inside out that way. Get the chips out of there, then we'll see what we got. Now let's look through there. But all those edges rolled over in there is going to help us. Yeah, that's going to help. That's going to make it smaller in there. Kind of like knurling. Some of those pressing ones you see, they got a knurled edge right here at the end. But that'll be our knurl. So now what I'm going to do is take this tube and cut it off the length of that, and then when we drive it in there, we'll still have somewhere to put our deal. Now we probably could make this, we probably could cut this off just to give us a little bit more, but I think that'll be fine. Yeah, it needs to come all the way through to the knuckle, but it's going to be right at the weld part of the knuckle where it's welded on at. Then it'll still be a 1/4 inch through the knuckle. but we'll go on the bottom side of the truck, on the bottom side of the C's, and we'll put a gusset down to here to help beef that up, which I don't think it'll ever. It's the length part of it, the long side being 1/4 inch thick is why it bends. It's going to be very hard for it to bend at the C, at the knuckle, because it's going to be about that much of it 1/4 inch through there, and the rest of it will be 1/2 inch. Well, actually it'll be that much 1/4 inch, and then the rest 1/2 inch. But I'll precisely do that. It won't be every bit of that, because coming out to the knuckle there's probably about one line there that's on the knuckle itself, so it'll probably be from that line down. But I'll get on that, and we'll go from there with it, and we'll drive it in there, see what it looks like. Alright guys, I cut 1.5 inches off of it. That's what I ended up doing. We're going to drive it in there and see what we got. It's cleaned out. It's ready to go. Nothing to it but to do it. Yeah, see, it's tight now. Good. Let me get something a little thinner. Go ahead and get some silicone. I'll go ahead and get some silicone and put it on that, and then slide it on in there. There. That son of a bitch ought to be there, buddy. Holy shit. Well, now I'll do the other side and weld it all up, and I'll show you when it's done. Alright, we're not going to glue this side in yet because the weld on the back side's too close to this. So it's right there about an inch in, so the other side will be fine, but this side I can't do that way. Sure tighten it up when we put those drill holes in there. Cut an inch off this side, 1.5 inches. Also, we'll just stick this in there and tack it. And then Stick that in there and tack it and then pull it back out to weld the other side. It's going about right there. This side about right there. Alright. Let's get the welder out and see how that's going to go. The wind's blowing. But I need to get it tacked up before we get rust. At least get it welded up before we get rust. I'll bring y'all back when I've got it welded up. Pretty sweet. I didn't weld the back yet. I just got the front welded. I'm gonna let it cool off. It's not hot. I mean, it's no hotter than it would be when you're driving it. So like I say, you just gotta let it cool off. Alright guys, I guess I'm gonna end it here. It's like Big Mike's rolling up. Yep. I'll holler at y'all later. We'll get on the gussets, see gussets maybe tomorrow. Alright, later guys. Bye. Alright guys, I want to put this up right here a bit before the end. I cut a little short. I worked late today. It's almost dark, so I hope y'all can see. The carrier ain't back in there. I just got it sealed up. Got one on the other side. Tomorrow we'll start putting on the truss. We might make some gussets for the C's over on that side for the knuckles. We gotta drop the springs out and start making bump stops for front. But she's coming together.